What if your personality isn't fully you? What if it's just protection? And I know that sounds crazy, but stay with me now. Because this isn't just about being necessarily fake, it's about survival. A lot of people wear masks, and most people think personality is something you're born with. I'm just quiet, I'm just the funny one, I'm just intense, I'm just nonchalant or independent, whatever it is. But what if those traits didn't randomly just appear one day? What if they developed at specific moments? Moments where you felt judged or embarrassed or ignored or rejected or overwhelmed even. And instead of processing those moments, you adapted. I think there are 4 very common personality traits that people put up. There's the funny one, the quiet one, the I don't care persona, and the hyper-independent one. We'll start with the funny one. Maybe you became funny not because humor was necessarily your destiny, but because making people laugh meant they wouldn't look down too closely at you. If you could control the mood and you control the attention, and if they're laughing, then they're not going to ask how you're really doing. And humor kind of becomes a shield. There's the quiet one. Maybe you become quiet. Again, not because you had nothing to say, but because at some point speaking up didn't feel safe. Maybe you were interrupted. Maybe you were dismissed. Maybe you were misunderstood. So you learned something. If you don't say much, you can't be criticized much. Silence becomes your safety. And then there's the I don't care persona. Maybe you built this nonchalant personality. You're very unbothered by everything, or detached. The it is what it is mindset, right? Because caring publicly means risking public disappointment. If you don't show excitement, you can't look foolish. If you don't show attachment, you can't look hurt. And detachment becomes, again, a defense. And then finally, the hyper-independent one. Maybe you pride yourself on not needing anyone. You're strong, you're self-sufficient, you're emotionally solid, but maybe that came from realizing that relying on people once led to disappointment. So you decide, I'll just handle it myself. And eventually, independence becomes insulation. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the hard truth is all 4 of the examples that I gave have something in common. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. But they are all defense mechanisms. And they work. They protect you. They reduce embarrassment. They reduce rejection. They reduce exposure. But they also reduce connection. Because the more protected that you are, the less seen you are too. And over time you forget what is protecting you and what you actually are, or your real, genuine self. And that kind of creates the question of, if you remove the protection or the defense, then who are you? If you weren't trying to be funny all the time, would you be softer? If you weren't trying to be quiet, would you be expressive? If you weren't trying to be detached, would you actually care more than you show? And that question, or those questions, are uncomfortable because protection feels like identity in a way. And this doesn't mean necessarily your personality is fake. I don't want you to look at it like that, and that's not what I'm saying. It means part of it might be shaped by survival. And what I mean by that is it's adaptation. But you're not, and you don't have to be in survival mode forever. At some point, you get to choose who you are without reacting to old wounds. You get to keep what's authentic and slowly let go of what was built out of fear. So know your personality might not be random. It might be a story, a response, a strategy, a shield even. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you've ever felt like there's more to you than what other people see, there probably is. The goal isn't to delete your personality. It's to understand it on a deeper level. Because once you understand what was built for protection, you can decide what to keep and what to outgrow. That's all I have for y'all today. As always, stay rolling.